Hey everyone, this is your host, Kristen Howe, and I am so excited to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Alicia Power. A former journalist, Alicia is a consciousness thought leader and psychic researcher, a multimedia blogger, author, and inspirational speaker. Alicia has trained with senior spirit tutors for 20 years to understand the practical process of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. She has been initiated by senior levels of the spirit dimensions to hold very high-frequency light. After 3 decades of spiritual mastery training and teaching as a profound healer and awakener, Alicia helps people ignite their soul into high joy, freedom, power, and purpose. As soul activator, Alicia facilitates with extraordinary senior spirit mentors that can accelerate soul evolution and expand the soul's capacity to ascend and merge into God's source. On today's call with Alicia, you'll discover what a spirit tutor is and how yours can check your soul energy field and assess its needs. You'll find out a simple way to reprogram your subliminal consciousness for optimal reality manifestation. You'll find out what fear programming is and feel empowered to change it. You'll discover how to feel free to let go of sadness or low-frequency feelings and choose self-love and self-care. And you'll experience a profound clearing and activation to connect you with your spirit light. I can't wait for this call, Alicia. I just love your energy. We were laughing before we got started, and that's the perfect way to start. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Kristen. I'm so excited.
See, me too. I'm so excited. And by the way, Alicia, this is like the best group of people listening to these calls. It's a really, really great group, so I think you're really going to love this. So can we start by having you share a little bit of your story, how you have manifested the current level of success that you have manifested?
So I would love to share my story. And one of the reasons is that my current level of success is very advanced communion and communication and training with the spirit world, very high levels of spirit mentorship. And that gives me my level of success because the group that you are working with, you were saying before, are very comfortable and aware that reality gets created from the inside. And so it's about finding trainers and tutors and mentors for our inner world. For me, that's what life's about. And so my entire life has been about kind of punching through the veil of reality to find those trainers and those mentors. And I have been mentored and trained by these senior levels. I've been passed up and up and up and up to the senior levels of the spirit world now, and having worked with them and trained with them for about 22 years. So if you're calling success on a soul level, just between you and I and the cat and everyone listening, I have had that rewiring, that training, that daily communication and chatting and training with them for such a long time now, a couple of decades. So if that's success, high five. I stand here before everyone, as a model, and I am profoundly passionate about letting every single human being on this planet who wants to hear this message that they too can connect with spirit tutors and spirit trainers. It's within you. It's portable. Everyone has them. And you can duck in there, jump in there, and begin opening up that communication channel and begin receiving that training yourself. And how that happened was right from early childhood. I was in a family that was very religious. My mum and dad came out of the Second World War, out of Poland, and travelled to New Zealand, had a big family in New Zealand after the war, and they were both profoundly, deeply connected to their saints, their religion, praying. They knew what they had come out of, and they knew that prayer had brought them safely to a place that was just a calm, country, the politics were pretty calm, and they lived the rest of their lives in safety. And every night we sat down and prayed, or knelt down and prayed, and church. And so it was a very early start to communicating with what God is. And by the time I got to the end of my high school, secondary school training, I was beginning to look for a deeper connection to God. And there was this really fun moment, Kristen, you might laugh, where it was kind of almost a week or days before we were leaving school finally, and we were in a little retreat, and there was this lovely priest was there giving us the ceremony of communion, which is in the Catholic religion, a host, and I was kneeling down receiving this host. And he looked at me, and I was, I guess, in a pious kind of a mode, and he laughed. And he wasn't being mean or horrible, but something snapped inside of me. And moments later, we were all running down to the beach. We were sort of on the coast there. And I felt God present in everything, in the sky, in the trees, in the cliffs around me, in the ocean. God presence was everywhere. So that priest has no idea, but he actually popped me out of a kind of a pose to noticing genuinely and authentically that God resonance, God frequency was really just pouring out of everything around me. And that began, I guess, a beautiful calling inside of me to connect deeper and deeper into that God consciousness. And by the time I was 19, I was connecting into a profound spiritual teacher from India who was teaching deep meditation states, and the entire framework of service to humanity and deep meditation states and discourses, daily discourses on deep God consciousness. And so for 16 years, from the age of about 19, for 16 years, I was initiated into those deep meditation states and practiced in full focus, 6 years in an ashram, celibate, full focus, those deep meditation states, hour in the morning, hour at night at least. So it really was 100% commitment and dedication from the age of 19, 20, can you imagine that? And then roundabout, after those 16 years, roundabout, I think it would have been about the age of 30, 31, 32, I decided to kind of unplug from that whole framework. And Kristen, I know you'll love this. There's a reason I unplugged. And many people follow profound meditation practices in their lives. So what I'm about to say is actually quite relevant and pertinent to so many people. The reason I pulled away from that framework of not so much my personal practice, but just a framework of following an external spiritual master who was profound. He to this day, I just love him dearly. So it wasn't anything negative. But my soul and my conscious self wanted to understand more deeply who my soul was. So if my soul is an eternal being that moves through many, many life cycles, it's learnt and trained and picked up so much skill and talent and power and capability. And I wanted to understand that whole trajectory and the depth and the scope of my own soul. And I knew that nobody on the outside could articulate any of that to me. So I knew intuitively I had to open up my psychic capability, my psychic communication to spirit trainers. And so there was this moment where the proverbial book winked at me from the shelf, and it was the book Opening to Channel from Sanaya Roman. That's a pink book. Many people would have, I'm sure, have read this book. It's been around for about 20, 30 years. And in it, the whole book's full of exercises. So I sat up in bed one night, and because I was used to deep inner mental stillness, I opened up an exercise, and the exercise called for me to invite a spirit being to come to me, which immediately I could feel the energy of a spirit being coming to me in that moment. And for the next half an hour, I was kind of testing that spirit being, are you real? What's your name? And the name kept coming back consistently, the same name. And I just thought, I'm making this up. And after a while, I decided not to worry about that and just keep asking this energy that had come towards me different questions. And pictures would come to me and feelings would come to me and maybe one word would come to me. And the next day I tried it again, and then the next day I tried it again, and realized that someone was on the other side of the veil, on the other side of this big, thick concrete wall, trying to give me an ocean or a universe of information in one word. And I realized that I was the issue, not the spirit being. So I realized that I had to kind of start new muscles and get through that concrete kind of barrier between me and that spirit being, and simply practice and kind of work the muscle so it was much more flexible and open, and that access point became clearer. And literally every day I just spend 5 minutes. For everyone listening, that really is about commitment and just practice. So after a while, those one words, I could feel that the feelings that came with that one word was an entire package of consciousness and knowledge. And so I would unpack that and gradually whole sentences, and pretty quickly I was having lucid, clear communication with my spirit tutors. And very quickly after that, they introduced me to auric healing, where they would step into my body completely and would begin working on somebody's aura. So I became a professional aura healer very, very quickly. And that began my professional work with deep into soul auras, into human auras, and understanding human souls, and also understanding the technicians in the spirit world, how they work, because I would watch them and I would ask them to show me what they were doing. And I had been in journalism before that, so I was highly curious as a person, and I wanted detailed information. So my communications, my conversations with them, but also what they were showing me, how the aura worked, how it affected our consciousness, what was sitting in the aura, what negative aspects were sitting in the aura, and how that affected our lives. And if this conversation is about manifestation, that's the beginning of my training around manifestation, how the human aura and what is sitting in the human aura in terms of databases of memory from past lives, but also lower spirit beings like little entities that hitch a ride in our auras, and how they literally start radiating lower frequency into our aura, which changes our thinking patterns and begins that whole process of what we magnetize to ourselves in terms of manifestation. It becomes a very big story, I can tell you. And so that began my training in the inner worlds. And with my hand in the hand of my spirit teachers and my spirit trainers, within about 2 years, they had passed me up to such a high scale of authority in the spirit world, and in terms of what I would name overseers and creator beings of this universe were my main primary spirit tutors after a couple of years. So the level of authority that I was working with and was training with was off the scale after a couple of years. And it had to do with my soul history. I was kind of trained over lifetimes to handle a kind of very high level of light frequency, so I could even communicate with these types of beings. But from that point onwards, what was really interesting, Kristen, and I'm sure everyone listening to this is going to be so excited and curious about what I'm about to say, which is that these levels of authority of the spirit world began to reveal to me how to have authority in manifestation, how to hold my state profoundly in the heart, and how to clean my aura so that the lens that is the aura could project out onto the movie screen that is my external life as cleanly as possible, so my soul history began to be examined by these high authority beings, and they began to travel back in my soul history to find, in a crystal there's occlusion, the bump points, the trauma points. They began to clean that and close the doorways and just close contracts, and so that my aura began to get deeply in integrity and strong. And they began to teach me how to partner with them to instruct these high overseer beings to come into the physical dimension, if you like, and began to change energy patterns in myself on a global scale, on a universal scale. They began to teach me how to partner with them to change realities. And that is huge right there.
Wow.
So that is one major thing that they trained me in. The second major thing, and this is another very exciting thing, because they were outside this universe, they were outside the game of light and dark. They were above it. They oversaw that game of light and dark. So they began to show me the framework within which light and dark operated. And that is incredibly unique from the point of view of what is the characteristic of darkness? How does it affect human consciousness? How does it dumb us down as humans? How does it trip us up? And on smaller scales, with those smaller entity type beings that we can bump into, anywhere wandering around in large crowds, or we go down to the grocery store and we're standing next to someone who's in a bad mood and we come back feeling grumpy ourselves. How do those lower entities immediately change the frequency vibration in our aura and immediately lower our state and immediately change what's being projected out onto our reality? So this is incredibly practical in terms of manifestation. It's just blow by blow practical to learn about this. And so these higher authority beings that began to work with me, impeccably kind of unraveling, and everyone listening to this will have a little giggle about this, because really you do get unraveled, you do get pulled apart and put back together again. And you walk through so much of your own or my own, I had to walk through my own kind of archives of projected fear and kind of meet them again and feel them again so that these spirit technicians could transmute them for me. So it's like walking through membranes and membranes and membranes of my own history in terms of the resonances that were archived in my aura. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey. And I think you're hearing that there is an opportunity for everyone listening to connect with your own spirit tutor and begin this journey, this training of taking a look into your own aura. Now, something I'll say right up front in terms of working with your own aura, and it's just my style and it's how I've worked, which is that I don't do it myself. I get them to do it, but because I'm communicating with them, they feed back to me and show me and tell me everything that they're doing. So I get them to do the work, because they see the depth, the range of, say, a trauma or a memory. They're the experts. I'm not. However, guess what? And this is fascinating. They need my conscious attention to partner with them in that moment. And it does have to do with that whole quantum quality of our reality. They kind of have to switch on a human being present with them, with what they're doing, very much giving them permission to do the change work, but also it is a quantum reality. So you and I are in our own classroom. It's a quantum classroom. We are walking forward step by step, putting our foot one in front of the other in a quantum classroom. So we are the ones driving the game of what shows up in our life, depending on how fearless we are. If our aura has been cleaned up, we have a lot less quotient of fear projecting through our lens onto and into our physical life. So this whole training and putting your hand in the hand of a spirit tutor to begin the cleanup in your aura so that higher and more stable external realities show up in your external life.
Wow.
And I can just say to you that where I am today, speaking with you on this teleseminar, is an example. Because it's about stabilizing the frequency that's being projected. It is. So that you can hold, eventually, your leadership and your empowerment nice and calmly and clearly. Because the spirit tutors train your inner consciousness to be incredibly skilled and capable of handling negativity, shadow energy in someone else or in yourself. So you do become kind of ninja with it. And you do. And they train you, not your logical mind. They do that as well. And I can tell you, talking to the spirit tutors in the way that I teach people, this is not about anything vague. This is about having quiet times with your spirit tutors and receiving detailed information so that your logical mind understands some kind of a learning curve you've just been through and you can debrief with them. I'm talking about learning how to receive the information from your spirit tutors in a way that you're confident you can ask them any question to any depth and they will give you the knowledge and the how-to and the learning in that moment. They never take your learning curves away from you. They never take your power away from you. They're pushing you into trainings so that you get the penny drop, always. However, you can go back and kind of slow the learning curve down. And so they help you consciously and logically understand what happens so that your logical mind is maturing along with your aura, along with that deep unconscious that's kind of getting the lessons as well. Isn't that fabulous? I love that. I'm giving you a lot of information here, by the way.
It's amazing. So our spirit tutors, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I just want to check in and make sure I'm hearing you right. They can actually check in with our soul energy field, and they can assess what our soul energy needs. Is that true?
So your spirit tutor can see the entirety of your aura. You've got your aura holds this life's consciousness. So there's 7 energy bodies within this life's aura. So fascinating when you start looking at the anatomy of the aura. So you've got this life's aura, and then there's octaves, higher octaves and higher octaves of your auras going up into your higher soul aspect. So your aura carries your consciousness, and your spirit technicians, your soul and spirit tutors, see the entirety of all those octaves. They can see who you are and who you've been in all of your life incarnations. And not only in human incarnations, but also your soul has traveled high up just in the spirit world and held roles and, gone through learning curves up there as well. It's also traveled in the shadow energy as well, just in spirit form. So it's gone through so much training and so many learning curves. And your spirit tutors, when they focus in and start scanning your aura, there are that many almost unlimited layers to the libraries sitting in your aura, the databases sitting in your aura of memory of where you've been and who you are on that higher level. It is so beautiful, everyone listening to this conversation. I just want to say to you all, you are extraordinary beings of light with huge power, huge capability of running the energy that you're sitting in, of driving it, of controlling it. And it's time for you to learn how to use that, how to drive the car you're sitting in. And your spirit tutors can see everything about you. They really can. And that's why it's important to have conversations with them so that you discover who you are.
I love that. Okay, so you say that there's actually a simple way to reprogram our subliminal consciousness for optimal reality manifestation. I love that phrase of reality manifestation. So talk to me about what that simple way is that we can reprogram.
So my shortcut always is to connect with your spirit tutor so that your spirit tutor can begin a focused training and a focused cleanup of your aura. So the purpose of you connecting with your spirit tutor is to give them the instructions, and this is new for a lot of people listening, because spirit tutors need your instructions. They want to know what you want out of this lifetime. So if you articulate that clearly to your spirit tutor, they will begin the rewiring job in your aura. So if you like, they create a cleaner mirror, a cleaner window, a cleaner lens. They will do it. So that whole connection process with your spirit tutor is the beginning point, everyone. It is simple. We're going to do that in a moment. I'm going to teach you how to connect to your spirit tutor. And from that point onwards, you will have a pathway to connect with your spirit tutor anytime you like. As you heard me explain, it takes a little bit of time sometimes for some of you to build the confidence to notice what your spirit tutor is saying to you. And I just quickly want to say that that is quite often a feeling flow. And I use the terminology of a data flow towards you as a feeling, not so much as thoughts or words. And to be smart enough to catch that feeling flow coming towards you immediately, instantaneously from your spirit tutor. That's the beginning point, to build that confidence and to have quietness and presence in that moment so that you catch what that spirit tutor's transmitting to you as a feeling. But I just want to say, in putting a focus and putting our attention on that moment, that begins a training with your spirit tutor in that moment, you can tell them what you want, what your requirements are. It's a bit like having a consultant or a technician. If you're sitting in a reality and also in your being where you're feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling sad, you might be feeling disappointed with your life, you might be feeling stuck. All of us have had these experiences. If you're experiencing that, my recommendation is immediately, and we're going to do that in a moment, is to connect with your spirit to let them know what you're feeling. Give them that feedback. They're the technicians. They can see your wiring. And then let them know that you require to be feeling uplifted and clear. These are really important words. Uplifted, happy, and clear. The spirit world hears those words as instructions how to rewire you, because they want you to be feeling a certain state, and they can do the rewiring. So can you hear how I'm talking? That these guys are technicians. They can do the job on you to change your state. When you change your state, you think differently. You project forward visions differently. You have hope inside of you, which motivates you forward into your future. It's incredibly powerful. So what I'm describing to you is an interface with a spirit tutor who can change your life.
Wow, that's so cool. I know we are going to go through something where you're able to connect with your spirit light right now, but before we do, I just have a couple of more questions for you. The first is this, because I mentioned it in the beginning of the call, and I really want to hear what you have to say about it, which is fear programming. I mean, so many people are trapped and caught up in fear. So what is fear programming, and how do we change it?
So that little pause I had just then is about how deep do I go on the subject? And you said to me that your audience is pretty mature and they're into hearing the details. So let me go into some detail, and everyone hang on to your hats. So we are a soul incarnate in a human body that's walking in a physical reality, which really at a quantum level is just energy. It's quantum waveforms of light, which is deciding to become a particle of matter and show up in our physical reality. So we are a soul walking in an energetic suit. The spirit world is surrounding us. It is in that energetic suit. And that spirit world has both light beings and shadow beings. That spirit world interacts with our aura constantly. Your aura is permeable. It communicates and transmits constantly your own waveforms of your emotions and feelings. So the state you're in, the thoughts you're having, the feelings you're having at any moment, constantly, everyone, is radiating out into that quantum suit. And the spirit beings in that quantum suit are reading you, but they're also connecting and transmitting back to you. So your beautiful spirit beings of light and your tutors that are around you, and everyone has spirit beings of light just monitoring you and mentoring you kind of in the unconscious, gently nudging you. But there's also shadow beings. They also are transmitting towards you. Now, we have a history in this lifetime. Many of us experienced emotional trauma in our childhood. It doesn't matter kind of how lovely a childhood you had. You know, we bumped into things. And when I talk about negative energy coming through a human, that will be a dark spirit being sitting inside a human. I'm just quickly giving an example of if you came across a human in your childhood who was dumping terror into you or causing some kind of a trauma to your emotions, to your psychology, to your psychic self. So shadow spirit beings do step inside other humans and do project that shadow energy into you, which then downloads into you. So some of us grew up with archives of shadow energy and beings and entities that are hitching a ride literally in our aura from times of trauma in childhood, where that was kind of downloaded or dumped into us. Now, this is new for some people. I've worked with this for 22 years professionally, watched this in people's auras every day, all day for 22 years. I'm extremely precise and exact in how I understand this. So just to let you know, this is not a vague theory. so that fear is generated by entities in your aura. They are conscious, they're deliberate consciousnesses, and they turn the volume up of fear in our aura. And we begin to lower sort of the level of the way we think. We begin to be bound up in limitation inside of ourselves. We, don't feel like we can move. Over those 22 years, when I invite my spirit tutors to look inside someone or inside of myself, I do this daily. I clean my aura. My spirit tutors clean my aura with me every single day so that my state is high. And all of you listening, as soon as a spirit tutor reaches inside, finds that spirit entity or that kind of clump of lower resonance energy and pulls it out, which they do quite quickly, your entire being just relaxes, your thinking unravels and changes, and as I mentioned before, you just feel differently. You're more optimistic. Your whole self just walks forward from that moment on a different stream. So it's instant change. So fear is a resonance field or a waveforms of energy being radiated out from lower entities. And your spirit tutor knows exactly what to do about those entities. So can you see how important it is to grab the hand of a spirit tutor and begin walking forward with that spirit tutor so they can see what's sitting inside our auras and start cleaning that up?
I can see how important that is. So that's what fear programming is. Same thing, and I'm sure it's probably similar. How do we let go of sadness and other low-frequency feelings and start choosing self-love and self-care instead? Because I know that is a big challenge for people.
So because I'm a technician, an aura technician, I know, and I'm just repeating it, and it's great to repeat this, by the way, so that everybody kind of just really gets this deeper and deeper, that your thinking style, when you're feeling sad and you're feeling stuck, your thinking style can be changed immediately, even if it's slightly incrementally, by your spirit tutor. So my journey, and I'm so grateful I can even just articulate this to everyone, my journey has been deep and just incremental is a great way to say it, strengthening of my aura, more and more light quotient, just the fiber optics in my aura just holding higher and higher light as these spirit tutors are just cleaning me up and just pulling out more and more of that sadness and kind of going deeper and deeper in the layers of where that sadness is coming from and what memory is sitting in my archives. And what begins to happen is that you just notice low frequency energy at a finer and finer level. You notice it in yourself, you notice it in someone else. You know how I know all of us do this. We are with someone and they just say something slightly negative and you notice that. You notice that their resonance is a little bit lower. So that kind of fine-tuning of how you feel just gets finer and finer and finer and finer. And you get stronger and stronger and stronger over the days, over the months, over the years of working with a spirit tutor. And you become incredibly empowered and really sort of the line in the sand that's in front of you. You just don't let things happen to you. And you act and choose really quickly in terms of supporting yourself. And you're really clear and strong about that over time. And the realities that you allow for yourself just go higher and higher and higher and higher. And you don't allow lower realities. You just don't allow them. You kind of skirt around them really fast. And you hold that center really strongly. And again, it's about having an aura that's clean and strong and worked with daily with you and your spirit tutor, just working on that. I'll sort of say to everyone how important that relationship is, to build it. There is a lot of people that say to me, Alicia, not many people talk about it at that level that you do. It's just that I've worked with them in such detail for 22 years, and there is that much deep power that comes from that, and it's invisible, and it's inside of us. We just start standing in a platform inside of ourselves that's clear, that's free. If you want to say what freedom is, it's freedom from fear, isn't it, everyone? Freedom from fear and knowing exactly what fear is so that you can do something about it.
Right, absolutely. I think that's huge. And you were just saying, how can I express this in a way that people could really get it? So could you go ahead and take us through, because I think for us to get it, maybe for us to feel that connection with our spirit tutor and our spirit light, that might help us. So is it possible for us to go through and do that?
Yeah, let's do that. Kristen, I just want to say thank you so much for holding the space with me today, because the spirit world and our spirit tutors are so close to us, all of us that are on this call right now, all of you that are listening. Your spirit tutors are kind of nudging up with you right now because they are so keen for you to connect with them. So let's just see. Okay, so let's begin. So the first thing I'd love everyone to do is take a deep breath down into your tummy, and by taking this really deep breath and letting it out really slowly through your mouth, it kind of separates your spirit self a little bit away from your physical self. It's a beautiful way just to begin any meditation or any multidimensional process. All right, so one more time, just a deep breath down into the stomach, down into the tummy, and letting it out really, really slowly in a measured, quiet, calm out breath. I'd like everyone to imagine a beautiful explosion, ball of light in front of you. And you don't have to see it clearly, just pretend it's there. And I'd like you to step into it and merge with it. Really simple. It's a beautiful process that just immediately changes your resonance and lifts your frequency. And expanding right out, and imagine that the scale and the size of that you, that is that ball of light, is pushed right out so that it's surrounding the entire building that you're in, the house or the building. And now imagine a column of light traveling up from the center of the earth and traveling up through your body and traveling up out the top of your head, and it's just traveling straight up into the sky. And now you, almost as though in an elevator, are following that column of light upwards, and we're going to go really fast. It's a beautiful metaphor for just starting to lift ourselves up into higher and higher and higher frequency dimensions. So traveling upwards, higher and higher and higher. And now everyone, just imagining that you've come to a stop and you're pushing open a kind of a door in the elevator and stepping out. And in front of you is a beautiful garden. And all of you've got a unique image of a garden. It might be roses, or it might be tropical and kind of Caribbean. Whatever feels lovely for you. And you're walking forward now into this garden. And there's a beautiful seat and kind of a lovely flower-filled area where you're sitting down, smelling the flowers and the blue sky above you. And there's the sense of a presence. And in front of you, just emerging, is a beautiful being of light in front of you. Full of love, full of light, full of beauty. And this is a being who can see your soul. I'd like you just for a moment to stand up off your seat and walk forward and step into that being and merge with them just for a moment. And really it's like a psychic hug. Just feeling their energy. And now step back out. And just for a moment, switch on pretend mode and notice what they look like. Totally pretend. Have fun with this. They might be a male or a female. They might have long hair or short hair. Just notice what their eyes feel like or look like. Go with your feeling as much as a pretend imagination visual. And again, you don't have to see, just know and pretend you know. Completely imagine that you're giving yourself permission, kind of like a 2-year-old, to just have fun with what this being might feel like or look like. And now imagine that this being is going to give you their name. You can ask them for their name, like, what is your name? And have an immediate feeling from them what that name is. Or your spirit being has a stick in their hand and there's sand at your feet, and they are literally drawing each letter in the sand, and you're looking down and noticing what each letter is as a kind of extra confirmation for yourself. And it doesn't matter what the name is. It's like a sound code or a phone number so that you can connect with the spirit being easily anytime using that name. Okay. And now what I'd love you to do is ask that spirit being to look at your aura or your body and to notice where there is some shadow energy that's sitting somewhere in your anatomy, in your body or in your aura, and for them to literally reach in and pull it out. So I'd love you to switch on your pretend mode, be really present and have your attention on what's happening here. Give yourself 100% focus if you can. Switch it on. And totally pretend. Again, pretend pushes your logic out of the way. And it kind of gives permission for a higher part of you to know what's happening. So pretend's a great word to use for yourself all the time, especially as you're starting working with your spirit tutors. So noticing what the spirit being's doing. Where are they reaching in? Stick with your pretend mode. And now imagine that your spirit being's taking you by the hand and there's a river. You're on the banks of a river and you both get into a beautiful wooden boat that's going to start flowing you down the river together. So sweet, the two of you together in this boat. And the boat's actually going backwards in time. So feel the enjoyment of just sitting, relaxing. The sun is beaming on your heads and shoulders. The two of you are sitting in this boat. That's flowing way down the river, going backwards in time. And eventually the boat nudges up to the bank. You both get out and walk up over the bank. And your hand is in the hand of your spirit tutor. And in front of you is a scene. It might be a city or a village or countryside. You both walk down the other side of the bank. And I'd like you to follow. Switch on again your pretend mode, imagining like you're a little kid, knowing that anything's possible. And your spirit tutor has your hand in their hand and you're walking forward. And your spirit tutor wants to show you something about something that happened to you in a past life. And it's significant because your spirit tutor can help you understand. So totally pretend, everyone. Have fun here. Follow the movie. Imagine the movie's just rolling out in front of you and you're just walking forward. You might be walking into a crowd of people or into a building. There might be a special person there. Put your attention on what's happening. Any slightest hint that you're getting is fine. Any feelings you're having are fine. Noticing your feelings. You can look at your spirit tutor at any moment, remembering your hand is in their hand. And you don't have to say anything. You can just look at them and query in your heart what's happening. Now, I just will say to you just very quickly that spirit tutors tend to nudge you into moments that can be a little bit of an emotion coming up. The reason is that they'll help you just pop an old feeling that's keeping you kind of stuck. That's what they tend to do, just very gently with so much love. And because you're with your spirit tutor will unwind that really easily and smoothly without too much intensity. And that's the beauty of working with a spirit tutor. They do really deep work very fast without it hurting. I want everyone to really remember that. just really quickly, everyone, we've just moved through a really simple little shift there, I know, because my spirit tutors have just told me. I'm online with them constantly. And just imagine that you, again, are standing in front of a column of light. Again, it's a little elevator. The two of you step into it and you're shooting upwards again. We're going up into a higher layer of light. And just moving really quickly here, again, stepping out much higher up. And there's no scene there, there's just light. But in front of you is a group of light beings. And this is kind of like a council of elders of light beings, of love and light. And they're looking at you. And right now is an opportunity for you to say to them what you want out of your life, out of this lifetime. What is the highest thing that you would love to make sure happens in this lifetime? It could be soul evolution, it might be enlightenment, it might be just happiness, it might be a partner with love, it might be financial abundance. Let them know specifically what you need in this lifetime. And they're listening very carefully. This is a key moment, everyone. To your chance to be heard on a soul level. And your spirit tutor now walks up to you, your main spirit tutor, gives you a hug, and lets you know that you are loved. And I'm going to leave you right in that moment where you're being hugged by your spirit tutor. And Kristen, was there anything else that you needed to work with?
No. It's amazing.
Everyone's just in hug mode right now.
Yeah. It's like what a journey, and I don't know, there's a safe feeling. It just feels completely safe and protected.
Oh, it's such a relief, Kristen. I just want to say, to have spirit tutors, because they can take us there where we want to go. They can. They do.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us, because I think that's the thing, right? We got to experience that with you just now, and so I think that makes it so much clearer as to why this is something that we really do need to experience in our lives and in our daily lives even. I'm curious about what's possible for everybody who is listening, just now that they've had this experience, which was amazing. If we can see what's possible, that's really helpful. Is it possible for you to take a few minutes and just share some of the amazing turnarounds that you've seen from people who are working with you on what you're teaching here?
So a dear friend comes to mind. Sometimes my clients become friends really over the years because of the depth and their soul hunger, it's so profound. And a dear friend comes to mind, and we'll call him David. And David is a therapist. And so a traumatic childhood, lots of deep psychological abuse, and came out of that with such determination to clarify his life and to strengthen his life and to pass on his journey and his learning to everyone else as a therapist. So his soul, just as an example, is of someone who's very clear that they want to make sure that this lifetime works for him, and that in this lifetime he delivers as high a soul light into his reality as possible. And so he began to work with me and was initiated or connected to his own spirit tutors, just like everybody on this call just has been, and beautifully began to daily work with his spirit tutors. And they began to clean his aura up and just train him how to even work with high authority spirit beings. And over time, that inner platform began to strengthen. The way he even thought about himself changed. His sense of inner leadership changed. And he became so empowered. He moved out of working in one field. This is what happens to people when they begin to work with their spirit tutors. What you're currently doing begins to seem almost childish compared to a new vision for yourself. Your spirit tutors will nourish you with a new thought about yourself. Your self-esteem increases, your vision for yourself changes, and they're the guys, the spirit tutors work with your inner platform so it even matches how you even can see yourself in higher leadership roles. So you just begin to change as a person. And also this beautiful friend, David, just became so clear about working with his spirit tutors on that daily scan, making sure that first thing in the morning, everyone listening, it's while you sleep that sometimes in the spirit world can connect with you, in that shadow energy kind of spirit being can kind of play with you while you're sleeping. So first thing in the morning is a great time to kind of connect with your spirit tutor while you're still lying there sometimes. And your spirit tutor can do a scan that you can just stand in front of your spirit tutor and they will just quietly look at your aura and just start working on it. So great time first thing in the morning. So David just methodically, because he was so hungry from a soul level to mature as a soul in this lifetime, to evolve his soul in this lifetime, working quietly with his spirit tutors, the way he worked with his clients and therapists changed. He would bring in his spirit tutors so that they could even speak to him about what was happening with his clients. So his insight into his clients and the way he could even just so accurately and pinpoint what was taking place with anyone that he was working with was just profound and phenomenal and so precise. But the main thing was that his sense of empowerment was just growing and growing and growing. The scope of who he became and who he has become now is just profound in terms of having an online business and training people and just a depth of power in his life. Amazing. Another example is someone who was already mature as a spiritual healer. For some of you who already are spiritual healers, this person had not connected with really high authority spirit teachers and spirit beings. The acceleration was exponential. And as someone who already could see into the spirit worlds, this person very quickly put their hand in the hand of very high authority spirit beings and was running with them at a speed really fast. Again, the spirit tutors were looking inside this person's work field and could see depths and layers of trauma and wounding that that person had not been able to connect with before at the level she was with. So, you know, just fast empowerment, deep training, deep cleaning, deep clearing. Acceleration is a really key word in terms of, you know, that connection. So everybody on this call, because I work with really high authority beings, you have connected with a being who's of high authority already. This is not a normal spirit guide you've connected with today. You've connected with someone who moves at a very accelerated rate, has authority to cut through red tape and see really deeply, very quickly what's taking place in your unconscious, in the way your thinking works, you know, in those sadness archives and the fear archives in you. And what I mean by speed and acceleration, it's like they send a laser beam down through so much concrete. And in terms of normally how a spirit being or spirit guide would unravel that, these guys work super fast. So the being that you've connected with today is highly accelerated. Just want to say it's a huge gift to you guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say that is a huge gift, and thank you for sharing that. And I love this. I love that you use the word acceleration. You know, that is something that I think, you know, we're all looking for, and that's what I get excited about helping people have access to. And there's so much more to learn from you, Alicia, and I asked you to create a special offer for everyone who's listening, and you did, and I highly encourage everyone, go listen to Alicia talk us through the offer right now. So just click on the special offer button on this webpage, and you'll be taken right to that page. So, Alicia, let us know what we'll find there.
So one of the amazing trainings that you'll find there, and I just quickly want to say, let's just track back a little bit. Every training that I give is delivered word for word from my spirit tutors, because I've been a spirit communicator for such a long time, and it is my area of expertise, is accessing their communication to me instantaneously. So every word delivered on all of the trainings that you're going to be hearing on the special offer is delivered straight from the spirit world. They're giving it to me word for word. So Life Keys for Your Spirit is a 12-month, 12-lecture series. So it's one lecture a month. And OMG, everyone. Oh, my God. It's like they take us into state training, into the topics of what love is. And so gently, like there's 3 trainings, 3 lectures on love, 3 lectures on joy, 3 lectures on clarity, 3 lectures that's on decision making, and then 3 lectures and trainings and processes on freedom, on accessing deep creativity, and I guess it is really, that freedom from fear and expression, freedom of expression. So Life Keys for the Spirit is this incredible training in these states and how to hold these states steady so that your reality manifests from that projection of that state. So it's learning what these states are and going deeper into the understanding of holding those states and the potential of those states. Life Keys for your Spirit. So that's the first one. Then I've added to the offer an hour and a half incredible training on how to connect with your spirit tutor. Now, this is an hour and a half, everyone. We got 10 minutes today. An hour and a half deep communion with a beautiful, incredible, high authority spirit tutor. It is mind-blowing, this training. It's just so beautiful and so heartfelt. You'll just love it. You'll be taken into an inner world and you'll be spending time there learning how to work with your spirit tutor. So that's just so profound. Then there's a soul pack. There's 2 major lectures really on the soul's journey. The first one is Secrets of Each Soul Journey, and it's the spirit world telling us what your soul has gone through. So the journey, the trajectory of your soul. And because I've looked into people's souls and their soul bodies, their auras for 22 years, we have seen so much. We've understood the dynamics of what the soul's gone through. And this is before even entering into this incarnation. So the journey of your soul, wow, the details of that, it's incredible. It's an incredible lecture. And then the part of that soul pack is how to steer your reality from your heart. Now, again, it's about manifestation. So this is a very advanced lecture, and it is, in a sense, an initiation, actually, as you're listening to that lecture, because the resonance and the frequency of that lecture is incredible. And it is talking about what the heart is and how the heart projects into your reality and how powerful a projector and a resonator and a magnetizer your heart is, and why the heart is the pivot of everything you magnetize towards yourself. So it is so, so important, that lecture, how to live in a quantum reality. Not only that, you guys, you think that's enough, but I've added to it a 6-month training of 5 minutes a week, a little 5-minute video every week. I call it the Soul Workout. This is an incredible training, everyone. Guess what? It's the spirit world teaching you to communicate with your own soul. You're going to meet your own soul. You're going to talk to your own soul. You're going to ask your soul questions, and you're going to soul program your week every week. You're going to invite your soul to tell you what it wants and needs for that week in terms of business goals, life goals for that week. So 5 minutes a week, a little 5-minute video, and that goes for 6 months. There's 26 of them.
Wow.
So it's an incredible package of working with your own soul, working with your soul tutors, your spirit tutors, diving into training direct from spirit. Beautiful.
That really is incredible. Now, tell me this, when people start working with this, what are the biggest benefits that everyone can expect to start experiencing literally right away?
Self-knowledge, awakening to the depth of who you are, opening up your potential, just blowing open the ceiling, the floor, the walls, because the spirit world is talking to you directly through me, and it's taking you into processes where you yourself will discover what's powerful for you. So clarity processes, deepening processes, and skill-building processes on how to work with the spirit world, with your spirit tutor. When spirit tutors create a process for you, not only will they give you a lecture on it, but you're actually getting pulled into their frequency, by the way. And these are high authority beings, and they have a very high frequency. So even just listening to my voice, you'll be in a bath of high frequency light. So that's just one thing. But also, as they push you into a process and just gently nudge you, not push you, but guide you, take your hand and just gently walk you into a process, the depth of discovery is so precise for you, because guess what? Your spirit tutors will be with you, inside your mind with you, and inside your being with you during those processes. So you won't be alone. It's just not you and my voice. Your spirit tutors will be there with you, guiding those moments of aha and those penny drops. Magic.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so everyone click on the special offer button that is on this page. And Alicia, you've been absolutely fantastic. I love everything that you've shared with us, the experience that you shared with us, the access, the acceleration, I mean, all of that. And I so appreciate you. And I would love to know, do you have any final words that you want to share with us today?
I'd just like to say that each of you listening to this call has unlimited potential in this lifetime. I didn't know that I was going to be a leader in consciousness as I am today because I'm so on access with my spirit tutors. So when I started this journey, it was my spirit tutors who unveiled to me my higher potential as I kept working with them. And that is the journey you can go on to. So connecting with your spirit tutor, you can evolve your soul to its fullest potential in this lifetime. This is available to you in this lifetime. Don't worry if you can't hear them initially. Please, everybody on this call, take your time, but feel your longing to evolve your soul. That's all you need to do every day. Feel your longing to evolve your soul. Use that longing to push you and motivate you into moments with your spirit tutor. They can feel your feelings, everyone. If you can put your attention on your longing, they will come towards you 1,000,000 miles and take you from that place. So take the time, have those moments with your spirit tutors, and feel the acceleration. And, you know, your job is just to show up with them, and they will do the rest. It's just amazing. And I just want to say thank you for being on this call. And I love you because you are a soul incarnate in a human body right now in your life. And your life is an opportunity to just blow open your potential. This is your opportunity to put your hand in the hand of your spirit tutor and begin walking forward into your potential. Thanks, everyone.
Wow, that was fantastic. Everyone, thank you so much. I love that I get to be here and spend this time with you, and I think you're all absolutely extraordinary, and I am excited for you to be able to put into practice what we talked about today on the call, which was an amazing call. Thank you, Alicia, and thank you, everyone. You are extraordinary, and until the next time, keep manifesting. Bye-bye, all.